yo shomarari. Bhavam buddhi vatsapadam parampadam. Bhavam buddhi, the ocean of material existence, bhavam buddhi, for bhavam vatsapadam, it becomes just like the water containing the footprint of a calf. Bhavam buddhi vatsapadam parampadam. Yadvipadam natesham. Such persons, their destination is the supreme abode, not the place where there is danger at every step. And hearing the glorification of the lotus feet of the Lord, Sri Sachinandan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he at that time began to manifest his symptoms, divine symptoms of Krishna Prema, love of God, becoming overwhelmed with love of God, Premavesh. And the Brahmins, the assembled Brahmins, they became astonished. They'd never seen such a demonstration of love of Godhead. And they were astonished. And similarly, at that time present was Srila Ishwara Puri Prabhupada, who subsequently became the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now already there was a relationship established between Srila Ishwara Puri Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Srila Ishwara Puri had resided here in Navadip for about 8 months. He was residing in the Garadha Bhavan, the house of Garadha Pandit, which is just almost adjacent to Advaita Bhavan. And every day, Sachinandan, he would go and he would hear the Bhagavad Katha from the lotus lips of Srila Ishwara Puri Prabhupada. And then he departed, as was his practice, to Deshantari, to go from one holy place to another, one place to another, Srila Ishwara Puri Prabhupada. And by the divine arrangement, he happened to be there at the time when Mahaprabhu arrived in Gayadam and was taking his first darshan of the lotus Sri Madhusudan. As Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, that when a soul becomes, when a jiva becomes inquisitive about Atma Tattva, the self, actually my real identity and the real purpose in life, at that time Krishna arranges that he comes in association with his representative. Brahmanda Brahmati Kona Bhagwan Jeev Guru Krishna Kripai Pai Bhakti Lota Beach. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is confirming this too. In Gita, Krishna explains that Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudhani Maya Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Rideshe Arjuna Tistati, that I am seated, the Supreme Lord Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Rideshe, in the heart Arjuna Tistati. I am seated, O Arjuna, in the heart of all living beings. Brahmayan Sarvabhutani, and I'm directing the wanderings. Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudhani Maya, as though on a machine made of material energy. So ultimately the Super Soul is dictating and inspiring us and instructing us, and one who takes advantage of those inspirational instructions of the Super Soul comes into the association of the representatives of the Lord. And that's confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his teachings to Srila Rupa Goswami in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya chapter 19. Brahmanda, same word, Brahmanda Brahmite, Kona Bhagwan, the one who wandering throughout the entire universe, Brahmanda Brahmite, Kona Bhagwan Jeev, the fortunate soul, Guru Krishna Kripai Pai, Bhakti Lota Bij. By mercy of the Guru and spiritual master, he's Guru and Krishna, Guru Krishna Kripai Pai, Bhakti Lota Bij. Bhakti Lota, the creeper of devotion, Bhakti Lota Bij. He gets the seed of the creeper of devotional service, the Bhakti Lota. Devotional service is described like a lota. Lota means a creeper. So a creeper, here in Bengal, many creepers are growing. I have many creepers in my garden. They just grow automatically, and they cling to a larger tree trunk, a creeper, and they give flowers, a creeper. The lota, bhakti lota. So the devotional service is compared to a lota. Lota is the pronunciation, lota. Lota is a pot, and lota, bhakti lota. It's the creeper of devotion. And it grows, in this way it grows. And the fortunate soul gets the seed of that creeper. So by Guru Krishna Kripai, Pai Bhakti Lota Bij, so the Lord, as the super soul, he directs him. He encourages him to take the association of the Vaishnavas. And the Vaishnavas, they're always inclined to distribute Krishna consciousness to everyone. Krishna said, Toma Krishna dite paro, Toma Shakati ache. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, Krishna said, Toma Krishna dite paro. So this is the business of the Vaishnavas. They're always inclined to Jari, as Mahaprabhu orders, Jari Deka Tarikoha Krishna Upadesh. Whoever you see, Tare Koha, you speak to them Krishna Upadesh, you instruct them about their eternal relationship with Krishna. Amaragai Guru Koho Tare Desh, and this way become a spiritual master, deliver everyone in this country. So this is the general, as seen, this is an example illustrating this principle as a general principle. That the Lord, He's accompanying us as the super soul in the heart, actually for this purpose. He's waiting life after life, accompanying us in all the various species of Brahmanda Brahmite. We're wandering from the topmost planet down to the lowest, Brahmanda Brahmite. Kona Bhagyavanji, but the fortunate soul, Guru Krishna Kripai Pai, he gets the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna. Krishna brings him into the association of the devotees. And the spiritual master, the representative Vaishnava, he instructs that inquisitive soul in consciousness. And in this way, once Krishna consciousness begins by the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master. So this is a principle for everybody. And here it's seen in the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At that time, where he was overwhelmed, he came to the holy place. His natural love of Godhead was beginning to manifest. And at that time, his spiritual master was there, ready to instruct him and to connect him to the parampara. So they met, actually at that time, Srila Ishwar Puri Prabhupada, he had a dream the previous night that this Nimai, Navadeep Chandra, Nimai Pandit, he would come from Navadeep. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you should initiate him into Vaishnava Mantra. And so he had this dream, so he was already expecting, and he was pretty elated by that dream, and he was expecting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come. So he saw him there in the temple in Gaya, taking darshan of the lotus Sri Madhusudan. And then they met, they discussed. In fact, Goshundar, it appears he had some sort of an apartment there in Gaya, and he was there for some period of time. He was cooking. He was there for so long that he was cooking. And Ishwar Puri Prabhupada, he arrived just at the time when Gaudhari had cooked the offering. And he took prasadam. Mahaprabhu, he fed his spiritual master. Ishwar Puri was saying, no, let us eat together. And Mahaprabhu said, no, whatever has been cooked, that is for you. And I will take the opportunity to feed you prasadam. This is actually how one associates with the Vaishnava. Bhunkte bhojayate chaiva, dadati pratigrinati. Ishwar Puri, in Rupa Goswami and Bhakti, in the Upadeshamrit, the nectar of instruction. He describes how to behave, how to take association with an advanced Vaishnava, how to associate. One should dadati pratigrinati, one should offer gifts, even something simple, some flowers or a garland or some dakina, some donation. But when you go into the presence of a saintly person, you should not go empty-handed. That's also a scriptural injunction. So you should offer some dadati pratigrinati, whatever that person, whatever the advanced Vaishnava gives you, you should accept. Pratigrinati. Guyamarketi prichiti. Sometimes the Vaishnavas, they'll give a little prasadam, they'll distribute prasadam to everyone or other things. Some oil prasadam of Lord Nrsingadev, or some prasadam they've carried with them. Or they'll distribute prasadam in the event. So you should line up to accept that. Guyamarkyati prichiti. One should discuss the transcendental topics, the confidential topics of Atma Tattva. One should discuss, and one should hear the realizations of the advanced devotee. Bhunkte bhojayate, bhunkte bhojayate. One should accept prasadam and one should feed. Bhunkte bhojayate. Bhunkte bhojayate chaiva. Sadvida pridilakkhana. These are the 6 symptoms of affection, which are exchanged between one Vaishnava and another. So it's not that when we come into association of a advanced Vaishnava, we should be bewildered and confused and not know what to do and just be like a incapacitated person. No, we should understand what we should do. We should offer gifts, we should offer prasadam, we should accept whatever that Vaishnava offers, and we should listen and we should inquire from that Vaishnava about spiritual life. So Mahaprabhu, he took this opportunity when Srila Ishwar Puri Prabhupada came, he took this opportunity and he fed him the prasadam. And then Ramadevi, was the Loki Priya, the incarnation of Sri Radhika, the Loki Devi in Vaikuntha Loka, she appeared there in the kitchen and immediately began cooking additional items, which subsequently Gaudhari himself enjoyed. Ishara Purir Shange Prabhur Bhojan Iha Shravane Mile Krishna Prem Dan. Those who hear the description of Srila Ishwar Puri, of Mahaprabhu feeding Srila Ishwar Puri Prabhupada, those who hear this description, Iha Shravane, those who hear this description, Mile Krishna Prem Dan, Dan, Krishna Prem Dan, they will very quickly achieve love of Godhead. So after that meal, Ishwar Puri rested in the rooms of Sri Satchidananda, and Gaudhari, he began massaging the lotus feet of Srila Ishwar Puri, just like a disciple would do. In his purport, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that this is the duty of the grihastas, those who have residence. They should utilize those facilities for the service of the itinerant mendicant preachers of Krishna consciousness who, out of their mercy, they visit that particular place, they visit the town, they visit the residence, and then all of the facilities of the house should be offered for the pleasure of that guest, of that Vaishnava. In this way one purifies one's home. Ye shang shmaranat sadya shadya shudyanti vagriha king punasparshana pada sparsha king punasparshana darshanam pada soch ashanadibi. When Vidura, he came back from his pilgrimage, and he came to the, actually it's not Vidura, it's Parikshit Maharaj. When Parikshit Maharaj received Shukdev Goswami on the Hastinapur, on the banks of Mahaganga, Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj was explaining how fortunate we are that you have come, and we can offer you some facility, Yeshang Shang Shmaranat Sadya, just by remembering a great Vaishnava, Yeshang Shang Shmaranat Sadya Sudyanti Vagriha. One's house, Sadya Shudyanti Vagriha, one's home is completely purified just by remembering a great Vaishnava. King Puna Darshana Sparsha, what is because seeing a Vaishnava, King Puna Darshana Sparsha, or touching a Vaishnava, Pada Socha Ashan Adibi, washing his lotus feet, Pada Socha, washing his lotus feet, Asan Adibi, or even offering him a seat. Even offering him a seat. I remember in my years of traveling in Bangladesh, and we would travel in the village, we would do Nam Shankirtan in Borbella in the morning time, at dawn. Especially in the Kartik month, we would go in a village. And the Hindu people in their cottages, they were so appreciative. They would come out and they would offer obeisances, and they would offer grains, rice. And we would collect that rice in a bag, all different kinds of rice mixed together, and then we would cook that as a Mahaprabhu Priya. He liked that offering of the rice collected from the begging. And then they would bring a seat. They would bring a seat in Bengal, Golmondal Bhumi, in the villages. So, a very simple life. Many times they sit on the floor. They don't have chairs. They sit on a cot, on a bed. They sit on a little wooden stool, like that far off the ground. They sit for cooking, for eating, prasadam, everything. So a chair is like something that's used for a respectable person. So they'd bring the chair, wooden chair, and put in the courtyard, and say, they would request us, Goshai, Doya Kore Asan Grahan Kurun, please. Saintly person, please be kind and accept a seat in my home, because they know that just by accepting a seat in the house, then the whole house is purified. And then once you're sitting down, then immediately they would come with some rasgula or some sherbet, nimbu pani, or some cut fruits or rasgula, and request us to honor a little. And this way, the culture of the village people in Bengal Bhumi is very advanced. They understand the culture of Vaishnavism. It is their tradition. So in this way, whatever facilities one has, one should not. And we would stay in the homes, and I would see that not just in Bangladesh, actually in many places, even in the Middle East, staying in devotees' houses, and the family, they would give up their bedrooms, give up they call it the master bedroom. And you would sleep in there with the ensuite, with the bathroom there, and then you would sleep there, and then they would all be sleeping on the floor in the living room. This is culture. This is Vedic culture. This is actually the duty of the householder, to receive guests. So it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself in this particular Leela, we see he's showing so much, he's emphasizing so much the importance of Varnashram Dharma. When he had the fever on the way to Gayadam, he had the fever, then he requested that he drank the water which had washed the lotus feet of the Brahmins, and they cured him of the disease. So he was showing in this way the Varnasram Dharma respecting Brahman, the Brahmana, the ideal Brahmana, Sama Tapa Socham, Sama Dhamma Tapa Socham Kshantim Arjam Amevata Gyanam Bhigyanam Ashtikam Brahma Karma Svabhajam. Of course, we're referring to an authentic Brahman who has developed all of the Brahminical qualifications as described by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Sama Dhamma Tapa Socham. He's Sama, he's equipoised in mind. Dhamma, he's controlled the senses. Tapa, he rises early in the morning. Socham, he takes bath and is clean, he or she. Socham, Jnanam, Vijnanam, he's knowledgeable and he's wise. He knows how to apply scripture in different situations. Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam, he's honest. Brahma Karma, Svabhavajam. This is the, acting in this way is the Brahma Karma, is the religious principles for the Brahminical class. Brahma Karma, Svabhavajam. And these are the natural qualities that Brahmins are born with. So such an authorized Brahmin is respected, and Mahaprabhu is respecting himself in his pastime, showing us the significance of this. And Grihastha Dharma, Ishwarpuri is a sannyasi. He's a sannyasi. And in fact, when he came to Mayapur, he first arrived in Mayapur, the Vaishnavas were thinking he was an impersonalist, but then they recognized, because generally the sannyasis were impersonalists. Because Mahaprabhu hadn't began preaching the Sankirtan movement. And so the Vaishnavas were rare. What to speak of the Vaishnav sannyasis. So they first misunderstood Ishwarpuri. And then Advaita Acharya recognized, oh, he's a Vaishnava sannyasi. Subsequently, when Goswami took sannyas, this is 4 years after this particular incident of his initiation, he took sannyas. Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas from the impersonalist Keshava Bharati Maharaj. Because Mahaprabhu, there were no god brother, he had no god brother sannyasis, and in Ishwarpuri, where was Ishwarpuri? Not clear, even if he was still on the planet at that time. And he did depart, and subsequently he ordered Govinda, his servant, to go to Mahaprabhu and serve Mahaprabhu in Puri. So Ishwarpuri may have departed, but in any case, Mahaprabhu took sannyas from Keshava Bharati Maharaj, and we can discuss that particular incident in more detail on another occasion. But Mahaprabhu did, before taking the sannyas, he gave the mantra to Keshava Bharati. He said, I heard this mantra in a dream. And he gave that mantra to Chaitanya. He gave that mantra to Ishwarpuri. And then Ishwarpuri gave the same mantra back to him. In a dream, Mahaprabhu received that mantra, and then he spoke the same mantra to Ishwarpuri. And in this way, he actually initiated Ishwarpuri in Vaishnavism, and then Ishwarpuri initiated him into sannyas. Sorry, not Ishwarpuri, Keshava Bharati Maharaj initiated him into sannyas. Vrindavan Das Thakur goes on to describe that on another occasion, Mahaprabhu, actually this was later, he went to a place called Kumarahata. This was after Mahaprabhu had taken sannyas and gone to Puri, and then he returned to Bengal, and on the way he went to, as before reaching the Navadip, he didn't go to Mayapur, he went to the other side, Kulia, Koladip, Vidyanagar. We've discussed that in detail in the past in this forum. So when he was coming into Bengal after Panihati, he went to Kumarahata. Actually, Subhash Thakur, when Mahaprabhu had left and taken sannyas, it was too painful for Subhash Thakur to remain in Mayapur. It was too painful for him, remembering the pastimes with Gaudhari, the Sankirtan pastimes. So Srila Subhash Thakur, he actually relocated to a place called Kumarahata. It's not far from Panihati. And also Adi Saptagram is there, and this Mahaprabhu's visited his various Vaishnava associates there. What was that name of that devotee? Prabhupada's ancestral line, his name? Udarandata Thakur. His home is also in that area, and Prabhupada visited that place as a child regularly with his uncle and with his father, because Prabhupada was born in the family line of Udarandata Thakur. So at that place, a place called Kumarahata, at that place, Ishwar Puri Prabhupada appeared. And when Mahaprabhu was visiting there, when he was coming back into Bengal after taking sannyas, then he took a handful of dirt from the birthplace of Srila Ishwar Puri, and he kept that in the corner of his cloth. And he said, this handful of dirt from the earth, this handful of earth from the birthplace of Sri Ishwar Chandra Puri's, from Ishwar Chandra Puri's appearance place, this is my most precious possession. So Mahaprabhu, he was explaining to Ishwar Puri at this time in Gaya, he was saying that by associating with you, I've actually fulfilled my reason for coming to Gaya. And he requested that you kind of give me initiation. And Ishwar Puri Prabhupada, well, he was a little shy, and he said, well, just, you're asking for initiation, I should give you my very life and soul. And then he agreed, because in the dream he had been requested by this higher authorities to give initiation to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although he wasn't requiring to be initiated, we require to be initiation, just like Prabhupada. When Prabhupada took initiation, Prabhupada mentioned Prabhupada first met Srila Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in 1922 in Ultradanga Road in Kolkata. It's a holy place, and ISKCON, we have that place, and you should visit that place. It's a very special place, and we've renovated that place to be as it was in the time of Srila Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He lived there for 12 years, and most of the preaching of the Gaudiya Math was achieved when he was residing in those rooms in Ultradanga Road. So it's a very special place. And Prabhupada in 1922, he first went there and set up that ashram in 1918, and Prabhupada first met him in 1922, and he remained there to 1931, 32, something like that, and then he moved to the headquarters of Gaudiya Math, which is at Bagh Bazar. So he was there actually for most of the preaching of the Gaudiya Math. He departed in 1935. And so that place is very special. And Prabhupada, he mentions that when he first met Srila Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he came with his friend Narendra Malik, and Narendra Malik encouraged Prabhupada, and in fact took him by the hand and brought him. Prabhupada was a little reluctant actually to go, because he was somewhat disappointed with the imitation sadhus that he had seen in his childhood, that his kind father, Gaura Mohan Dey, would regularly feed at least 4 or 5 a day. So Prabhupada was a little reluctant, but he was induced by his friend Narendra Malik, and he came into the ashram, went up onto the roof. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was there. Prabhupada, because he was born in a Vaishnava family and he was trained in the Vaishnava principles, he offered his Dandavat Pranam, obeisances to Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And before Prabhupada could even properly take his seat, seeing the qualification of young Abai and Narendra Malik, Prabhupada Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, you're educated young men, you should preach Gaudavani, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, in English language all over the world. So Prabhupada was astonished that Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was so bold to actually give him an order to giving his whole life for a mission. And they never even met. There was no polite introduction, how are you, what's your name, nothing like that. And immediately he just gave him the order. And Prabhupada accepted that order as his life and soul. And Prabhupada was always meditating on fulfilling that order. He would regularly explain, I've been ordered to preach by Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in English. So subsequently, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur repeated that order. But Prabhupada mentioned that at that time he accepted him as his spiritual master. But still, Prabhupada subsequently took initiation. It's not that it's a sentimental thing, and we don't require to take initiation, even great souls. Prabhupada, even though he had already committed himself, and was reading the books of Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and meditating on him, but still he took initiation. So from these examples, we can say initiation is compulsory for a serious candidate. Why would one not take initiation? There's no reason why not to. If one is sincere and has a relationship with that advanced Vaishnava, then one taking initiation will simply enhance that relationship, will simply deepen that relationship. And so Mahaprabhu himself, he showed this example. In fact, we can see that his ultimate manifestation of prema bhakti and establishing and spreading the Krishna consciousness movement out of respect for the principle, out of respect for the principle of accepting a spiritual master, he didn't actually begin to manifest these pastimes of spreading Krishna consciousness and himself demonstrating relishing and demonstrating the ultimate stages of prema. He didn't actually begin that pastime until being initiated by his spiritual master to indicate the importance of initiation, even though it wasn't required for him as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is a lesson for us, instructive lesson. Tobe Tashnane Shikha Guru Narayan Korilen Dashaka Mantra Grahan. So the Shikha Guru Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the instructing spiritual master of everyone, Shikha Guru Narayan, Tobe Tashnane, at that place, Korilen Dashaka Mantra Grahan, he accepted a 10-syllable Dashakar mantra Grahan. He accepted a 10-syllable mantra. So this type of mantra. This is this confidential mantra. This is like those who are second initiated in ISKCON. They are chanting such mantras. We're not chanting a 10-syllable mantra. We're chanting an 18-syllable Gopal mantra and Krishna mantra, the Kama Gayatri mantras we're chanting. We're also chanting the Gauranga beach mantra and the beach mantras and mool mantras. Those who have been initiated in the Gayatri mantras will know what I'm referring to. The mool mantra is the shorter one, or the beach mantra is the shorter one, the beach mantra. That's like Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya as a beach mantra beginning with the Om syllable. And then the mool mantras are the other mantras accompanying the beach mantras for each of the deities. For Krishna, there's 2 mantras. For Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's both the beach mantra and the mool mantra. And for the Guru, spiritual master. And in addition to those, there is the Brahma Gayatri mantra, which is more well known. It's made public, but actually it's a confidential mantra. It shouldn't be spoken loudly and shouldn't be distributed unless one is authorized to distribute that mantra and to authorized to accept that mantra. Just like in ISKCON generally, a person is given first the Harinam initiation, and Prabhupada and Acharyas are more liberal in giving the Harinam. And from that point, one chants regularly Shankapurvaka Nam, one chants a minimum 16 rounds of japa every day and follows the 4 regular principles strictly. When one is become fixed up in that practice, then one is awarded, it's not compulsory for everyone actually. Kali Juge Name Rupa Krishna Bata Nam Hoite Hoy Shabra Jagat Nishta. By properly chanting the holy name, one can be delivered. Kali Dosha Nidhe Rajan Ashta Eka Mahagunai. In the Kali Yuga, everything is bad. A Dosha Nidhe, it's an ocean of fault. Ashta Eka Mahagunai, but there's one good thing. Eka Mahagunai, one great thing. Kirtana Deva Krishna Shah. Simply by Kirtana Deva Krishna Kirtan, chanting the holy names of Krishna. Mukta Sangha. One can become liberated of all the contamination in the material world. Mukta Sangha Parambrajet, and attain the supreme goal just by chanting Hare Krishna. So it's not actually compulsory for everyone to take the Gayatri Mantra initiation. But those who are more absorbed, those who are more engaged in Brahminical activity like preaching and deity worship and educational activities, for them it's highly recommended and generally encouraged that one should take the second initiation. Now in this case, just as in the case of Prabhupada, when he was subsequently initiated by Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Prayag, Allahabad, in 1933, he was initiated. Prabhupada, which was unusual at the time, Prabhupada received both the first and second initiation from Srila Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur at the time of opening the Rupa Gaudiya Math, which is still there. You can visit that's the Gaudiya Math in Prayag. Prabhupada was initiated there, and at the time of initiation, he was given both the first initiation and the second initiation. And he was instructed by Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur to study Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu at the time of initiation. So from that time, Prabhupada regularly began giving class in the Rupa Gaudiya Math in Prayag and preaching and is leading the kirtans, etc., as any other second initiated Brahmin Vaishnava would be doing. So in this case also Mahaprabhu, he received both initiations. He received, here it mentions Korilin Dash Akir Mantra, Korilin Dash Akar Mantra Grahan, Dash a 10-syllable Gayatri Mantra he received from Ishwara Puri Prabhupada. And we've heard the relationship between Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Srila Vrindavan Thakur. I think I've mentioned before that we were discussing Malyalam Vritikrama in Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. We were discussing in his Bhakti Vaibhava assessment, he was writing a response to the question about explaining Malyalam Vritikrama. Malyalam Vritikrama was a principle Prabhupada explained in relation to the Uddhava and Vidura and Maitreya meeting. Vidura, he gave up the palace in Hastinapur before the Battle of Kurukshetra, and he didn't take sides, and he went on a pilgrimage tour. And it's described he went to Haridwar and he met Uddhav. And he inquired from Uddhava, who was very dear, associate of Krishna. He inquired from Uddhava about Krishna's pastimes. And the first 4 chapters of 3rd canto Srimad Bhagavatam are describing the instruction that Uddhava gave to Vidura. And then Uddhava directed Vidura to Maitreya, who was an elderly Vaishnava in Haridwar. This happened in Haridwar. And he instructed Vidura to take instruction from Maitreya, as is the etiquette, and not to give instruction in the presence of a senior Vaishnava. That's called Malyalam Vritikrama. And so subsequently 3rd and 4th cantos are the instructions that Maitreya gave to Vidura. Maitreya to Vidura, 3rd and 4th cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we were asking the question to discuss the significance of this for ISKCON. Now, in his response, His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj, he said that this can be seen in the example of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita after Vrindavan Das Thakur had compiled the Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, and he regularly refers to Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. In fact, he says, Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Bedbyas, Chaitanya Lila Byas Vrindavan Das. He says that in Krishna Lila, that was compiled by Mahamuni Vyasadeva, and that same Mahamuni Vyas, Chaitanya Lila Vyas Vrindavan Das, he's appeared as Vrindavan Das Thakur. So he accepts Vrindavan Das Thakur as the authorized biographer of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, and he mentions that I will not repeat anything that has already been spoken by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur out of etiquette. But I will discuss some things that were not discussed by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. So we see this in this particular case, that here Vrindavan Das Thakur is explaining that Mahaprabhu received the Dasha Akar mantra from the 10-syllable Gayatri mantra from Srila Ishwara Puri Prabhupada. And subsequently in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is written after Chaitanya Bhagavan, Kaviraj Goswami, he explains that Ishwara Puri also initiated Mahaprabhu in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And that can be seen in Mahaprabhu, that after receiving this initiation from Ishwara Puri Prabhupada, Mahaprabhu then he began chanting the mantra, and it had a great effect on his consciousness. And he returned to Ishwara Puri and he inquired, Kiba mantra dilo goshai, kibatar bol, jopate mantra korele pago. What mantra have you given me, Goshai? Kiba mantra dilo Goshai, kibata bol. What is its power? Jopate mantra korele pago. Chanting this mantra, I've become crazy. That Mahaprabhu, he will hear a little later that he couldn't sleep at night, he couldn't sit down, he couldn't walk, he couldn't do anything. He was burning, overwhelmed with love of God, and he wanted to race off to Vrindavan. We'll come back to that shortly. This is the effect that immediately having taken initiation had a great effect on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's consciousness. Of course, this is Leela, but he's showing us the importance of initiation. And Ishwara Puri, when hearing this is all not described in Chaitanya Bhagavat, this is subsequently described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and as we're mentioning, Kaviraj Goswami, he's giving additional embellishments, additional details that were not mentioned by Vrindavan Das Thakur. So he's describing this particular additional interaction, that Ishwara Puri, he was very pleased when he heard that he's Jopati mantra korele pagal. He was very pleased that his disciple had become crazy as a result of chanting Hare Krishna. Balo pailo tumi param purushartha tama premete ami hoilan kritato. Balo, very wonderful, my child. Balo, tumi pailo parama purushartha. You've attained the highest goal of life. Tama premete, your love of Godhead. Tama premete hoilan ami kritato. I become indebted. This is what the Guru wants more than anything else. So many things have to meet, so many deadlines, so many things, this and that have to be done for the authorities. But the ultimate achievement, which pleases everyone, is that you actually develop attachment for Krishna. You actually develop real affection for Krishna. And he explained, Kiba mantra dila, what mantra have I given you? And he explained the Hare Krishna Maha mantra. So in this way we can see both mantras were given, because here Vrindavan Thakur says that Dashakir mantra, and Kaviraj Goswami, he says the Hare Krishna mantra. And he says that Hare Krishna, when he responds to the question, Kiba mantra dila, what mantra have you given? He replies that Hare Krishna Maha mantra jaito shabab, jai jape tare Krishna upajay bhav. The Hare Krishna Maha mantra, the jaito shabab, the very nature, jaito shwabhav, the very nature of the Hare Krishna Maha mantra, jai jape, whoever, jai jape, whoever chants it, jai jape, whoever chants it, jai jape tare Krishna, unto Krishna, for them, unto Krishna, Krishna upajaya bhav. Whoever chants the Hare Krishna mantra, they will awaken feelings of love for Krishna. You're going to get love for Krishna. Sometimes the people ask us, how you're a foreigner, you come from a wealthy country, Australia. In fact, in the country I was born in, Australia, there's not so many people. There's only 25 million people. And in Bharat Bhumi, there's 1,400,000,000. So that's about 1 to 600. Now Australia is much bigger area than Bharat Bhumi, but for every one person in Australia, there's 600 people in India. That's about the equation, if you work it out, 25 million to 1,400,000,000. For every one person in Australia, there's 600 people in India. So India is much more densely populated, and the resources are much harder to come by compared to Australia. A person in Australia, he gets resources that 600 people share in India. And people ask me, why you come to India? What can I say? Hare Krishna Maha mantra jaito shabab jai jape tare Krishna upajaya bhav. Anyone who chants the Hare Krishna mantra, they awaken attachment for Krishna. So I've come to India to serve Krishna, to preach in Mongol Bhumi, in Gormandal Bhumi, in Bangladesh, and Bengal, to preach here upon the order of the spiritual master. So we don't care about the fact that we could be living luxurious life in Australia with so many comforts, because we've become crazy as a result of chanting Japati Japati Mantra Korele Pago. We don't care about this material opulence anymore. We're enjoying more the service of the spiritual master, the service of Srila Prabhupada, the service of the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the answer that I sometimes give in reflecting on this particular statement of Srila Ishwara Puri, that anyone, Jai Jape Tare Krishna Upajai Bhav, anyone who chants the Hare Krishna mantra, that automatically there will be awakening of attachment and love for Krishna. And then, in addition to explaining the Nam Tattva, the science, the truths, Nama and Mohima, the glories of the holy name, in addition to explaining that in response to the question of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in addition to explaining that, Ishwara Puri Prabhupada, he also gave further instructions to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He gave further instructions, and he said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said that, in fact, he gave him the name at that time, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. He changed his name, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And when Mahaprabhu subsequently took sannyas, he kept the same name, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So he gave him that name, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And he also instructed him. So these things we can see, he gave mantra, and he changed the name, and he gave the instruction. There's 5 different elements, of initiation. There's name change, a mantra, the instruction, and the yagya, and the tilak, pundra. These are the 5 symptoms of initiation. And tilak, one wears tilak after being initiated, one gets the mantra, and one accepts instructions, and one changes the name. These are all essential components of initiation, as described by Thakur Bhaktivinoda. So we can see many of these Ishwara Puri gave. He gave the name change, he gave the mantra, he gave instruction. So what instruction did he give, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? In fact, Mahaprabhu is relating this incident in the Adi Leela of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Adi Leela. Now we're in end of Adi Kanda, 17th chapter Adi Kanda, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavad, describing Mahaprabhu's trip to Gaya. But Mahaprabhu personally described this incident when he was subsequently taken sannyas, and many years after taking sannyas, actually. It's 2 years, 4 years, it's 6 years after taking sannyas. Mahaprabhu had visited Vrindavan, and he was coming back, and he was in Varanasi. And he was chastised by the impersonalist sannyasis there, headed by Prakasananda Saraswati. And they were questioning him why he's dancing and he's crying in love of Godhead. When Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he entered Prayag, this is described in the very first paragraph of Prabhupada's book, The Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, very opening sentence. Prema beshe nache Prabhu, Hari Doni Kori, Udva Bahu Tule, Bale Bolo Hari Hari. Mahaprabhu, he entered into Prayag, Prema beshe, overwhelmed with love of God, Prema beshe, nache, dancing, Prabhu, Hari Doni Kori, chanting the holy names, Udva Bahu Kori, raising his 2 arms, Udva Bahu Kori, Bale Bolo Hari Hari. And he was chanting and calling everyone to chant the holy name. And tens of thousands of people had come and were simply taking darshan of Mahaprabhu as he was performing Shankirtan on the way to the temple of Bindu Madhav. Keu Kande, some were crying, Keu Hashe, some were laughing, Keu Nache Gai, some were dancing and singing Krishna Krishna Bali, all chanting the holy name of Krishna, Keu Gora Gadi Jai, and some were rolling on the ground. So in this way, in Prayag, in Varanasi, Mahaprabhu, as he was traveling, he was performing Sankirtan and preaching, and so many people were being converted to the Sankirtan movement. So this was questioned by Prakasananda Saraswati Thakur, the head of the impersonalist sannyasis, and he said, why are you dancing? Why are you crying? He's thinking you're a sentimentalist. And he said that the real duties of a sannyasi are meditation and study of the Vedanta. Sannyasira Dharma, what is that? Vedanta Pat Dhyana, Sannyasira Dharma. The duty of a sannyasi is to study Vedanta and to meditate. Vedanta Pat Dhyana, Sannyasira Dharma. Tada Charakene Babukya Karma. You've given those up and the Babuk. You're the Bhav, you're like an emotionalist. Why is that? So Mahaprabhu is explaining his initiation from Ishwarpuri in Gaya to the Prakasananda and the other sannyasis in Varanasi. This is the 7th chapter, Adi Lila Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, Murka, he says, my spiritual, why I'm not studying Vedanta? Because my spiritual master told me I was a fool and I'm not qualified to study Vedanta. Murka tumi tomar nahika Vedanta adhikar. You're a fool, you have no qualification to study Vedanta. Krishna Nam Japa Shada E Mantra Sha. You should constantly chant the name of Krishna. Krishna Nam Japa Shada. Constantly chant the name of Krishna. E Mantra Sha. This is the essence of all the Vedas, the essence of the Vedanta. E Mantra Sha. Mantra, the Vedanta. Mantra Sha. This is the conclusion. This is the essence. All the Vedic mantras are contained in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And he's explaining this to Prakasananda Saraswati. And then he further went on to explain that my spiritual master he instructed me nache, to dance. Nache gao bhakti shange koro sankirtan Krishna nama upadeshi tara sharvajon. He said that nache, you should dance. Nache gao, you should sing. Nache gao bhakti shange, in association of the devotees. Koro sankirtan, perform sankirtan. Krishna nama upadeshi. And the teachings and the science of Krishnanam, you should instruct the people in general, Tara, Krishnanam Upadi, Tara Sharvajon, and deliver all the people. So in this way we see that Mahaprabhu, he hadn't begun his preaching activities until he was instructed by Srila Ishwarpuri Prabhupada in Gaya in this way, and subsequently Mahaprabhu will hear in subsequent sessions how when he returned to Mayapur, he wasn't able to carry on the Vidya Lila, the pastimes of scholarship and learning, and he began the Sankirtan movement and began preaching Krishna consciousness and following the order of Ishwarpuri Prabhupada, Nache Gao Bhakti Shanga, himself regularly performing Sankirtan in the association of the other Vaishnavas in Mayapur. So we'll carry on next week what happened after the initiation of Godhari from Ishwarpuri and Gayadam. Are there some questions on the topics discussed today?
Hare Krishna, anybody has any question? raise your hand. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I had a question. You said that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not change the name, but in ISKCON we changed the name after sannyas.
Yeah. Recently, not all the sannyasis, like Jayapataka Swami, he didn't change his name. That was his brahmachari name, Jayapataka, as an example. Others are the Tamal Krishna. He was simply Tamal Krishna Goswami. He was also, Prabhupada gave him sannyas, same name. Ramai Swami, same name, brahmachari name. Many were there examples of without changing the name. So I don't know exactly when it was introduced. Now we see all the sannyasis that names have changed. Sometimes the names are changed to a completely different name. Ganga Narayan Das Brahmachari, he was Bhakti Prem Swami. Sometimes the name's completely different. So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe we should ask Praladananda Swami. Sannyas means we should ask. So we're wondering that what name will Namnishta Prabhu get when he takes sannyas?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Some other questions?
Yeah, Jitendriya Gopesh, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. My question is, why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took initiation from in Mayavadi in sannyasi?
I asked that question to His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. His response was that, I'll simply repeat, his response that the sannyas initiation, it's not as say crucial in terms of connecting you to the parampara as the Harinam and first and second initiations. He mentioned that to me, that those are the crucial initiations. And the sannyas initiation is more simply for introducing you to the sannyas ashram. So we see that I see examples in ISKCON where some devotees, even they're taking sannyas initiation from Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, even though their spiritual master is actually there. So in terms of sannyas, it's like a sannyas initiation has to be gotten from a sannyasi. So just like Yadanandan Swami, he took initiation, I believe, sannyas initiation from Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj, and he's a disciple of Satsarup Maharaj. So anyway, there are some examples that, so the Jayapataka, Shriman Mahaprabhu, he wanted to take sannyas, and he wanted to take sannyas at that time, and Ishwarpuri Prabhupada wasn't, where was Ishwarpuri Prabhupada, who knows? But Keshava Bharati Maharaj, his ashram was not far away in Katwa. It's not very far from Mayapur. It's an overnight journey by boat, Mahaprabhu. So out of convenience, we could say he took sannyas from Keshava Bharati Maharaj because Mahaprabhu wanted to take sannyas. And even before that ceremony, Mahaprabhu actually gave him the mantras, the Vaishnava mantra. So in that way, Mahaprabhu initiated Keshava Bharati into Vaishnava sannyas and then took sannyas from the Vaishnava sannyasi. So technically speaking, it wasn't an impersonalist, but externally it did appear like that. And Mahaprabhu, he did actually have the Ekadanda sannyas like that of an impersonalist. That's the sannyas danda he was given. And that was quickly disposed of by Lord Nityananda when the first chance he got. He threw away that danda, broke it into 3 pieces. And so Sri Thakur explains that in this way, he showed that the Tridandi sannyas instead of the Ekadanda sannyas. So there's a lot that can be said about that, but there's a brief response.
Mukesh ji, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. I have 2 questions, Prabhuji. First of all, when you take sannyasi or when you take initiations, so is it mandatory to change the name, or with the same name by adding just Prabhuji or something like that you can continue? That is my first question. And secondly, my second question is this, that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji had taken the sannyasa, Did he come across any kind of opposition or some kind of this kind of things?
So regarding the opposition, well, Mahaprabhu, he came up in opposition when he was in Varanasi with the Mayavadis. We just briefly mentioned that. They were opposing, they were challenging him. Mahaprabhu, he was in opposition by different groups. That's a big topic, the opposition. And it was a Mughal government. They were conquerors. India at that time was under the control of a foreign invading government, the Mughals. So, so there are various elements there that can be discussed in more detail subsequently. But changing the name is, as I mentioned, is one of the items of initiation. It's expected. Mahaprabhu, he changed the names of Rupa and Sanatan. Aj hoite toma naam Rup Sanatan. Danna chara toma danna fitte momon. He changed the names and he made a point of it. So generally name changes there. Now, there were occasions, Prabhupada, when the children of his disciples, they already had spiritual names. So sometimes Prabhupada, he may have changed the name a little bit. Like my friend Sri Prahlad Das, Prahlad, he was born in Krishna consciousness. He's a famous preacher. He helped, he was a key figure in helping establish Krishna consciousness in the Soviet Union, actually, in the 1980s and 90s. He was born in Krishna consciousness. His name was Prahlad. So he took initiation. He was given there by Ridananda Das Goswami. His initiated name was Sri Prahlad. Sri Prahlad. So there's a name change, but it wasn't a major change because he already had a spiritual name. So sometimes Prabhupada may have adjusted a little, but sometimes it's up to the spiritual master. It's up to the spiritual master. But there should be, awarding a name. It's a part of initiation.
But how did he tackle the opposition, Prabhuji? Did he overcome all these kind of hurdles in a smooth way, or he had a hard time?
Very smooth. Ahoituki apratiyata. No material circumstance can restrict the practice of Bhagavad Bhakti.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Bhupali, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sadhar Pranam at your lotus feet. Prabhuji, I have two questions. One is mine and another from the other person. But first, I want to ask my question. Prabhuji, how much the initiation is important to connect to Krishna? Is chanting and reading Shastra is the primary thing to be connected to Krishna, or initiation is the utmost important thing to progress in bhakti life?
Well, initiation in and of itself is not the utmost important thing. That's not mentioned in the Shastra. The Shastra mentions the 64 items. Choishati Shadananga, that's Rupa Goswami Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Prabhupada describes as the science of Bhagavad Bhakti. So initiation is one of the items, but it's very important. It's very important. It's the third item. First item, Guru Padasraya, take shelter of the spiritual master, Guru Padasraya. And then the second item is Diksha. Guru Padasraya, Dikha, Guru Rasavaya. And then there's many other items, but there's 5 items that are particularly emphasized. Sadhu Sangha Nam Kirtan Bhagavat Sravan Matu Srimurti Rashada Sheban. These 5 items. So initiation is included in there in Sadhu Sangha. Now, you said what's the utmost important? Well, the utmost important item, according to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaching Sanatana Goswami, is hearing. He says Shrabon Adi. It says utmost important item is hearing. Shrabon Adi, Shuddha Chitte Korayo Udaya. You become purified and the love of God, it awakens. So Shrabon Adi means hearing the holy name and hearing the Bhagavad Katha. That's the most important item. Now, initiation is very central because it will enhance your Shrabon. Initiation, you should hear from the spiritual master. We should accept that person as spiritual master and hear from that person. So initiation is the importance of initiation cannot be undermined. That's why Mahaprabhu himself is taking initiation. That's why Prabhupada took initiation, even though he already said that already I accepted him as my guru. So practically speaking, he was already connected, but the initiation, it will deepen that connection. If already you're practicing Krishna consciousness and you're already serious, then the initiation will enhance that. It will deepen your connection. It will make you more serious.
Yes, Prabhuji.
It's up to the consciousness of the disciple. You take initiation as a very important thing. That's very good. That's very healthy. If you take your initiation very seriously, that's a very good thing. Sri Guru Charan Roti Eshe Uttam Goti. Nurtam Thakur, he says that Sri Guru Charan Roti, attachment to the lotus feet of the Guru, Eshe Uttam Goti, that's the highest way, that's the best way. Sri Guru Charan Roti Eshe Uttam Goti. The topmost path is attachment to the lotus feet of the spiritual master. So initiation, formal initiation will certainly help you. It's like a marriage. Yeah, I love the person. No, it's like... But you're married, then you're committed. It's official. Everyone knows. Everyone knows in the whole community. It enhances the relationship. So the initiation will enhance the Sri Guru Charan Rati. It will enhance your shelter at the lotus feet of the spiritual master, and it should be accepted.
Yes, Prabhuji. My second question is from another person. Can I ask? Like, it is not related to today's topic, but it is he very much wanted to ask this question. Actually, like in our Vedic system, killing animal is so abominable. Like it was earlier done in the sacrifice like things, but she wanted to ask that if killing animals is a so abominable thing, then how to revive Ganesha's life? Shiva killed the elephant and transplant his head under Ganesha. How can one kill the baby elephant of the and transplant his head in the Ganesha?
Way off the topic today, and it's over time, so I'm not obliged to try to answer that.
Okay, Professor. Thank you.
Shall we conclude today? There's a few hands up. Okay.
Archana Prashant Shetty.
Hello, Hare Krishna. Dandavat Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have one question. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, he was born on Grahana Day. So he was always everyone was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And when his guru initiated him in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he started showing some other type of symptoms. Like, what is the difference? When he was born, everyone was chanting. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was telling everyone to chant. But when his guru initiated him, how those symptoms started?
Good question, Archana. Let's take it up next week, because it's a little over time now. I have some things to do. I usually stay for an hour, so let's take it up next week, because the topic will carry on about what happened after Mahaprabhu took initiation. So Archana will take that up next week.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you
The
so much.
translation
Hare
was
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
for the
Hare
translation.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
How the translation, this thing?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat. So nice, Prabhuji. It was so nice, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna. That Mataji name I don't know, but she translated so nice and me can understandable easily.
Which
Thank
language?
you. Kannada, Prabhuji.
Okay, very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
Telugu also well, Prabhuji. Sheila Mataji has done.
Okay, good. So all the language, the translation was useful. Take
Yes, Marathi was also very good. Hare Krishna.
Chalo, together we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.